Greetings everyone, this is Carlos from Everything Tech, and in this video we are tearing down the PS4, cleaning the fans and repasting the heatsink. So the tools you're going to need for this job are a Phillips screwdriver, some thermal paste, a T8 torx security screwdriver, and a knife or sharp object to remove the stickers. So the first thing you need to do is to remove the hard drive cage. So remove the side panel by sliding off the panel to the side and pull out the hard drive cage. Now what you're going to do is turn the PS4 around and check the back of it. There will be 4 stickers, 2 in the center with some writing on it and 2 black ones to the side. So let's peel these ones off. Start by peeling off the black ones. There will be some T8 torx security screws under these stickers, and they are normal torx screws, but they have a pin in the center, so like the normal torx screwdriver is not going to be able to remove them. It needs to be a security bit which will have a hole in the center. So once you remove all of these stickers from the PS4, then we're going to go and remove the screws underneath. This is a job that you need to do when your PS4 is heating up, switching itself off when you're playing a game, or if you're playing a game for long periods of time, your fans will just go ballistic and really loud. If that is the case, then you're going to need to tear down the whole PS4 and repaste the heatsink, clean all the fans inside and heatsink, because there's going to be a lot of dust inside, preventing any airflow. So once these screws are off, with the PS4 turned down and the fans away from you, the back fan, just clip the side like I'm doing there, either side, and drag it to the front. And that will give you access to the DVD drive, the power supply, and part of the fan. So as you can see, there's loads and loads of dust in here, and there's many things that we're going to need to take out in order to reach the heatsink and completely tear down the PS4 to bare bones, just the chassis. Grab your Phillips screwdriver and let's unscrew these screws here that have a little metal bit sticking out of it. Those are the power supply screws. They're very long ones with a little bit of metal sticking out. Just leave them inside a little bit of metal. There's 2 of them, one on each side, so take them both out, and it's time to pick up your T8 torx security screwdriver, and let's take out 3 screws there are on the power supply remaining. 1 is in a center and 2 are on opposite sides of the long ones. So let's take these ones out. They're very small ones. Try to keep all your screws organized together where they come from, and keep the part that they came out of together or near the screws. So let's take all of these out, and now there's going to be a little plug on the side of the power supply that you need to unplug it before you actually take it out. So it's on the side there, like I'm pointing. So just wiggle it about a little bit. You might have to pry it with a screwdriver. I didn't have to do that, but it is a little bit stubborn, so be prepared for a little fight, but don't force it. If you force these and you break it, you're going to need to replace the power supply completely. Or if you break it in the motherboard, you're going to need to replace the whole motherboard, which is not cool. So unplug this little thing in here. It's a little plug. Once that's done, we can remove the power supply. So start by dragging it up, or like pulling it up, but at the same time, not just one side, because if you pull out on the right hand side, then your left hand side is not going to come out, because there are 2 pins that come from the motherboard that stick into the power supply, make contact with the power supply. So you kind of like need to pull it up, not to the side, or not at an angle. So keep jiggling it and trying to pry it out, and you should get it out just like that. But as you can see, completely caked in dust. So clean the motherboard and the heatsink, all the parts that you can see so far, and it's time to tackle our next job. So the next part of this is going to be, we're going to take out the DVD drive, but first let's remove a couple of cables. So you see that connector there, there's like a little metal tab on top. Pull it out away from the connector and then pull the connector out, and do the same thing on a motherboard part and put the flat ribbon cable away. And then there's going to be another two to take out. One is the power to the Blu-ray drive, and the other one is the antenna, the Bluetooth antenna, Bluetooth Wi-Fi antenna. So for the Bluetooth Wi-Fi antenna, you're going to need the TI torx security screw. Take out the screw at the front under the plate and then run the cable all the way back, and you're going to see that it's under another connector, which is the power for the Blu-ray drive. So take out that one first, just wiggle it, same sort of connector as you get with the power supply, but this one is actually plugged onto the motherboard itself. So wiggle it out until it comes loose, take it out, and then run the cable all along the little grooves that are securing the cable against the housing. So keep on unhooking it from the little hooks, and once that's done, just put it aside, and now you can remove the antenna from the motherboard because you will be loose. You'll be like hooked onto the frame, but you'll be able to unhook it. It's like a zigzag motion, and then with a screwdriver or something plastic, just take out the antenna. They look like the little antennas that you got on iPhones and things like that. So once that's done, it's time to take out all the screws that are securing the Blu-ray drive to the housing. So there should be three more. One is to the above the one that's got the plate. The other one is hidden under the connector where you've taken out the flat ribbon connector. It's on a corner there. And then another one is right at the back where the back of the fan is. It takes all these three out, and you should be able to remove your Blu-ray drive. I keep saying DVD player, but it's not, it's Blu-ray. And there's one final one is in the center. That's a Phillips screw, so you need to take that one as well. Once you do that, then you can just literally take out the Blu-ray drive. It should just come out, and there we go. Got loads of little cogs underneath. It's quite interesting, this device. Once that's out of the way, we're gonna need to take one more screw, but I only find out after we turn the PS4 around and tackle the other side like I'm doing now. This must be a new model of the old generation console or the initial generation console, because it's got a screw that no other console that I've teared down before had this screw. So now turn the PS4 around and you see that there are two screws securing the left lid or the top left lid. So take those two screws out, don't take anything else, and then start prying where it says PS4. Start in the center and then wiggle it and take it out where the PS4 is. Just slide it out that way and you should be able to remove it, and then take it through the back, and that part is out of the way. Shouldn't be too much dust in here, might be a little bit depending on how long you had the PS4 and how long since you clean it. There's going to be a little connector. Just put your screwdriver under the connector and it comes up. It doesn't slide out, it comes up. So on both sides, don't force it. Very, very, very sensitive, this connector. Once it's done, just pull it out, and now we're going to need to take out 12 screws. They're all TI torx security screws. So just try and organize it as best as you can. They come out they're all the same size anyway, but I always like to put them exactly where they came from. It's I don't know, it's just a way that I've got of doing things. So once you've taken out all of the 12 screws, those are going to be two. There are Phillips screws that are securing the heatsink. So you need to take those two out, and these ones come out. Don't take one out completely, just take them out gently, alternating between each screw, because there's a lot of pressure put on top of the processor and you don't want to break the processor by exerting too much force on only one side. When the plate comes out, you should be able to remove the heatsink or remove this plate and then have access to the motherboard. Okay, this is now out. Now this this frame here comes out just normally by pulling it up. As you see, mine is not coming out because there is a screw on the other side that I didn't notice, and this screw is like a black screw. It looks like it's been added afterwards to the PS4. I really don't know why, but it's right there behind the connector that connects to the power supply. So if yours has got that screw, then you're going to need to take it out. But most of the PS4s won't have it because I've never encountered this. So remove the plate now, and this plate shouldn't have too much dust, but whatever dust it's got, just clean it. And then you have access to the motherboard, and the motherboard comes out in a specific way. Just pull it up from the front, or it's got the two USBs at the front, and at an angle pull it from the back now. So pull it away from you. If you're doing it exactly like I'm doing, just pull it away from you, and that's it. It should come out. You should be able to see that it's got the it's CPU GPU combo, and it's got loads of heatsink on there, loads of heatsink on the heatsink, and you should be able to just clean this off and clean whatever it's on the CPU as well. Take your time. You really want to dedicate at least an hour for this repair, and if you've never done this before, then go slowly, don't rush anything. Just make sure you organize all your screws so you know exactly where they go, because it's very easy to take things apart, but when you put them back together, there's always extra screws, or there's you're missing screws. It's just it happens. So just take your time and do things slowly and methodically, and organize everything you take out. It's good that if you've done this before, this is obviously easier if you can memorize where everything is, but it's very easy to misplace something and not know where it goes when it's time to reassemble the console. So after you clean all of these, we're gonna go and remove the rest of the stuff that comes with the plate. So we need to really go bare bones, and at the moment we don't have access to the fan, and at the fan is caked it with dust, and you can't see that because it's behind another metal frame. So let's take that frame out as well and do a proper job, 100% job. So get back to where the heatsink is and remove 3 Phillips screws that are the last ones really on this metal bracket or metal plate. The fan is going to be underneath those screws. So 3 screws right in the center, and then what you're going to need to do is just remove the plate, and you have access to the fan. Be careful with the little cable on the side. That's a fan cable, so you want to be careful with that one. See, that's what it looks like. If you don't remove this plate, you won't be able to clean that. So after clean, looks exactly like that, all nice and shiny. It looks like it's brand new again. And clean everything around it, and now it's time to take out the last thing, the fan. So there's another 2 Phillips screws, so just take them out on the fan itself, and once those 2 are out, there's going to be a little metal bracket that goes above the fan. You need to take that one out as well. So slide it up, the little metal bracket, and remove the fan. And now you can see on the other side of the fan, you'll be able to clean it all. I've cleaned everything now, and now it's time to put everything back together. So put the fan back in and put the 2 screws that we've just removed. Now it's time to put the little metal bracket, and that slides onto a groove that is on the housing itself. Just remember how you're taking it out and put it back in the same way. If you have any trouble doing this, then let me know in the comments and I'll be able to help you out. Now it's time to put the bracket back on. You should just slide in perfectly. You don't have to force anything. And put back the 3 Phillips screws that you've removed. Just make sure that everything is aligned and that everything is aligned, and so you won't have any gaps on the motherboard once you put the motherboard on top. Now the 2 screws are in. Let's turn the thing to the other side. Have a look to make sure that everything is there, and it's time to put the motherboard. But first we're going to need to put the thermal paste on the CPU, and then we can put the motherboard inside. There's loads of ways to do this. You got your own way, I've got my own way. I prefer to spread it all around, put like a little blob in the center and then spread it all around. And I don't put it on my heatsink, I'll just put it on my CPU, and that's, in my view, is plenty to make contact with a heatsink, so should be okay. This is the way I do it. You might do it differently. Some people like to put just a blob in the center and just squash it with the heatsink. I'd rather do it like this. I don't know, it's just how you got used to doing it. Is probably, it's totally up to you how you do it. So once this one is done, just it's time to put your motherboard in. So start at an angle, exactly like you've taken it out, with the ports to the back and the 2 USB ports to the front, and start at the back and put the ports first in towards the housing. Make sure that you put that little cable and the 2 pins, and make sure that they're not broken, obviously. So put it at an angle, push them in, make sure that it slides in. If it's not done properly, you won't be able to assemble it. So take your time and put the back ones at an angle, and then just drop the motherboard slowly down onto the housing. But you'll see that, there we go, see, that's how it's supposed to go. And all of the pins are going to be in the right place, so you'll know when it's done properly. If it's not, take it out, put it back again, be patient. It's not something that you want to rush. Now it's time to put back the metal plate on top, and time to put all of the screws that came out, so the 12 screws plus the other 2 retention screws that secure the heatsink to the motherboard and on top of the processor. So put your T8 torx security screws in, your 12 of them. This one is put wrong. I shouldn't have put that one in there. That's not the right way to do it, but I'm about to take it out. You need to leave 2 of them free, because those ones are the ones that attach to the little housing that goes on top of this. So put all the 12 screws in. You need to leave those 2 free. Now it's time to put the retention bracket. Just put the 2 screws on either side. They Phillips screws, and just make sure that you tighten them incrementally on either side. Keep alternating them. Just tighten one, tighten another one, tighten one, tighten another one, just like that. Don't tighten one fully and then go and tighten the other one. That's not how you do these brackets. Exactly like I'm doing. Okay, so now it's time to put the housing on this side, and this one you have to put the front first. I'm sorry, the back first, and then clip it onto the front. I'm putting it sideways so you guys can see it, just like that. Put the back, and then you'll clip onto the front. And then there's 2 more screws that you need to put, securing it to the metal frame. that and that, which you didn't screw any screws to, so you can have the holes to secure this bracket. Once they're done, turn the PS4 around, and now it's time to put all the cables and the final screw. Remember that black screw that we've taken out? We need to put that one as well. So put your Blu-ray drive in, it just slots in. If you see that there's too much gap where the screws go, then you need to readjust it and slot it in properly. And the first thing we can put in is going to be the center Phillips screw. So if there's too much gap, like I said, it's not going to go in. So take it out again and slot it in properly. And now it looks like it is slotted in perfectly. So now we can put the Phillips screw in. We're going to go and get the T8 torx security screws, and we're going to put one on the front. We can put another one under the cables. It's nice if you have a magnet, so you can magnetize the tip of your screwdriver like that. It'll be much easier to screw this one in. And now we're going to put all of the cables that are missing. First, the black one is going to go in there. You might not have this screw. I didn't have it on other consoles, so you might not have this one. So the first thing to go in is going to be the antenna that goes to the front. Let's hook up this one first. It's now under the hooks. Now we can put in the antenna bit, guide it up to the grooves on the housing. So put in the antenna and the plate at the front, and then screw the T8 torx screw on top of it, securing it to the housing. And finally you can route the cable over to the front and connected to the motherboard at the back under the power supply. There'll be like a groove in the center of the Blu-ray drive. Just hook it in there, and then there'll be another groove underneath the Blu-ray drive. Hook it there as well, and then on the motherboard, on the plate, on a metal plate, there's going to be 2 or 3 grooves that you have to put it through in order to secure it, and you wouldn't be, like dancing about. And then you can plug this one on top, which is the power for the Blu-ray drive. Once that one is done, now it's time to put the last screw, which is going to be at the front of the Blu-ray drive. That's a T8 torx security screw. And now it's time to put the ribbon, the flat ribbon. This one you don't have to pull the tab back, you just slot it in, and it should just go in without much trouble. When you hear a click, that means that it's securely attached to the connector. Do the same for the one on the motherboard. And that should be all done. Now it's time to put the power supply in. Make sure that you clean it beforehand. So start by putting the left side, which got the pins, and then sliding it in gently, wiggling it until it falls in and it's like flush with the rest of the components on the motherboard or the components on the PS4. Once it's slotted in, just plug in the connector. Be gentle, this connector is really sensitive, so it's very easy to break. So once it's all in, Just get the long screws with the metal bit attached to it, and they are Phillips screws, one on each side. And then you've got 3 torx screws, torx T8 security screws, that go 1 in the center and 2 on opposite sides of the metal long ones. I'm doing this video in real time so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. If I was speeding it up, I might not show something that you might miss, and it's crucial that you do these repairs successfully and don't go breaking anything, because obviously the whole point of doing the repair is by trying to make it better, not make it worse. So once this bit is done, it's time to put the bottom housing. So the way you do this, you hook up the front first. Is the opposite of the other one. So you hook up the front first and clip it to the back. And then just gently push it down, and you should click a satisfying click. Once that's done, it's time to put in the hard drive. It's got a Phillips screw, so just slide it in, simple as sliding it in, and put the screw securing it to the cage. Finally, just slide the rest of the housing in. There's no screws needed for this one, just like that. And that's your repair done. All you need to do is put the screws at the back, the 4 screws, and put the stickers on top of it. So I guess this is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you did like this video, if this video helped you, please give us a like and consider subscribing so I can continue releasing more content like this. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.